So you started making the change in your life financially when you were in your 40s?
Yes, late 40s.
Really? Okay.
Late 40s.
And so how did that transition happen? What did you do?
After 15 years of teaching, I'm 37 years old, and it's time for me now to move on into the next thing. It just so happened that my brother, it was time for him to move away from the ranch, from Shepherd's Fold. And so, boom, finally, I'm going to get my chance to take over the world type of thing. And so that was the first step. It kind of broke me out of the trap of the salary that I had found myself in at that point. And so I became the executive director at Shepherd's Fold Ranch. And what was interesting is as soon as I became the director at Shepherd's Fold, I began to function in all of the ways and all of the Wonder Twin powers that I had. And I began to teach, I began to train. Another gifting that I have is just visionary and being a pioneer. So I started new things, new programs. We actually started a discipleship training school at the ranch at this point. I was writing curriculum and doing a lot of teaching. And so that broke me out of the classroom. But I jumped out of the classroom in the salaried world right into the nonprofit world. You know, that was a good time. So once again, here I am. Kind of my progression here is I learned growing up, if you need money, you ask for it. Because I grew up in a nonprofit world.
Right.
And I noticed, you know, hey, Dad, need some money. You know, and he'd go, okay, here you go. As you get a little bit older, you have to go through the guilt trip. Oh, man, are you kidding? What do you think? Money grows on trees? Type of thing. And so you go through the guilt trip, but eventually give you the money. Well, the same thing in my parents, since they were running the nonprofit, if we needed money for the business, what did we do? We did a fundraiser, and we asked people for money. So that's kind of how I learned, if you need money, ask for it. But then I moved out of that into the salary world. So now, if you need money, well, you work more. You put in more hours.
Yeah.
And, you know, Clay, we need you to take tickets at the football game or something like that. How much does it pay? Type of thing, you know, because I'm going to be there for a while. So, well, it pays $25. You're on. You know? And so I do those different things. If I needed more money, I'd have to work more for it. And so now here I come back into the nonprofit world again, and I found that I had a gift to influence people. I had a gift to be able to sit down to explain and paint a picture, cast a vision in people's hearts. So all of a sudden I'm able to raise some money. And I'm going, hey, I'm set. This is going to be awesome. You know, I was thinking, okay, I'm set. This was my goal from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But then, Clay, after about 8 years there, I began to feel the itch again, began to feel like there's something more. There's something more. And we had been able to take the ranch from a place where it was struggling, where they were having some difficulty. We were able to bring it to a point where it's winning some awards, doing really good, a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
And but I definitely understood it's time for me now to turn this thing over, because now I'm in my mid-40s and I'm realizing, okay, there are some things I'm really good at, and there's some things that I'm not really good at. And one of the things that I really struggled with was just the daily grind of management. You know, just all the little weeds, all the little details of management. And I knew for the ranch to go further, to be able to grow, they needed a manager. So was able to hire a manager to take my spot.
Well, you know, you hear all the time, it says that there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And the research in that book shows that 80%...
I read that book.
You did?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, I did. My brother-in-law told me about it.
Well, it says 80% of America's millionaires are first-generation affluent. Does that surprise you?
Not at all.
So, I mean, for you, I mean, the transition from being, I guess, poor to not poor, was it a road of kind of, that involved a lot of just saving consistently over time? Or how did you kind of get to where you are now?
Well, I think the key thing, when I moved from Shepherd's Fold and had turned the reins over to a new person, all of a sudden it was like, okay, if I hire you, there's no money for me to have a paycheck. And my next thing is not to go back into the classroom. And it felt compelled to move out into my own thing.
Yeah.
To begin to take all of the skills, all of the talents that I had learned and gained through each of these different jobs that I had had, and now begin to use them for my own power, begin to take over the world for myself rather than for other companies. So not unlike yourself, Clay.
So really the road to self-employment has proven to be very successful for you? That's where do you feel like you're thriving now that you're in self-employment?
Oh, definitely. It has provided a freedom for me. And what is it that we hear so often with entrepreneurship? That either we're going to choose safety, we're going to choose freedom. And so the whole idea is that you can choose security if you want. But the more security that you want, if you continue to grab hold of more and more and more security, you will have to give up more and more and more freedom until eventually you find yourself in what we call maximum security.
Right.
Where you have lost all of your freedom.
So you felt like for a lot of your career, you were giving up the potential to make really good money and to offer a lot of value for salary.
Definitely.